Hello and welcome everyone to our webinar today. My name is Daniela Schwartzman. I'm the Strategic Partnerships Manager at BayWa, and it's a great pleasure to have this webinar today with this amazing title, Back to the Future, the Solar Loan Edition. I'm really excited about this one and to be joined by Dave Larson. He is with FranklinWH. He's the area sales manager for the West. We have Anders Alexander. He is responsible for partnerships at Atmos Financial. And we have Betsy Clackham. She is our very own finance program specialist. And I'm really grateful to have you all here. Thank you guys for joining us. So while everyone is logging in, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Just make yourself familiar. Q&A on the bottom of the Zoom platform. That's your way to ask us questions, to share your comments, and to engage with us. So please use that a lot and often so we can make sure we answer all the questions you may have coming into this webinar. There's also a chat. The chat is not monitored the entire time. It will be useful, though, if you want to check out some resources, some BayWa materials, and some other resources that may come up. So we'll link them over here, and we'll let you know when that's the case. So without further ado, let's just jump in here. Before we start, let's go to the next slide, and let's talk a little bit about BayWa and how you can count on BayWa to support you in all of your success. And how we are doing that is by providing you tools and guidance and reliability so you can grow stronger and move more faster. There's several ways how this can be accomplished. First, that would be forecasting. So stay ahead of the demand with accurate forecasting and a dedicated account manager who always has your back. Then easy, fast purchasing, that can be done through our easy-to-use web stores, state-of-the-art. So with it, you can streamline your operations and procurement. It's user-friendly. It has real-time pricing and the functionality to order immediately, no frictions and no delays. Commercial project confidence. You can tap into expert planning and precise inventory forecasting to keep your commercial jobs running smoothly from design all the way to delivery. Transparent, consistent pricing is another thing you can expect by working with BayWa. You can rely on stable pricing across all strategically located US warehouses. There are no surprises and no hidden fees. Logistics, reliable logistics nationwide. So you can access the products you need quickly thanks to those strategically located warehouses across the country. And you can have your products delivered straight to your job or construction site, which helps you save time, skipping any extra steps. So if you are a US-based solar installer and you have not yet worked with us, please check out the link, get in touch, and an account manager will be reaching out to you very shortly. All right, so without further ado, let's hear it from Dave, who will kick us off today. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Daniela. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Dave Larson with Franklin. I cover the West Coast sales team. And thank you, BayWa, for putting this together. This is pretty exciting stuff. It's even more exciting to be working with Atmos and Anders. This is new to us, and we're pretty excited about what's happening. So what I'm going to talk about in the first part of this webinar is kind of a brief overview of Franklin. Talk about how we like to present Franklin or sell it at the kitchen table, and then how BayWa's kind of put all of this together, a premium offering with some great financing, and just making this easy for all of us. So I will jump right in, and feel free to type questions as we go, and someone can interrupt me and I can handle those questions if they come up. So if you're not familiar with Franklin, this will be kind of a quick overview. If you are familiar, maybe this can be a reminder of some of the features. So we are a whole home backup battery residential system. Comes in 240 volt and 208 volt, designed for partial backup or whole home backup, whichever you desire. The battery itself is 15 kilowatt hours of capacity. That's the amount of fuel in the gas tank, so to speak. And the homeowner has access to all of that capacity. So it is a 100% throughput on the capacity. The battery behind the scenes is actually a little bigger than 15. So we just talk about what the homeowner has access to, and it is the full 15. It is a generator ready battery. The generator compatibility is one of our key features. We are compatible with any 240 volt generator. It can be a standby generator, inverter or non-inverter based, can be a portable generator, auto start generator, and just about every brand out there. In the 3+ years I've been with Franklin, I haven't found one that hasn't worked yet. So it's pretty safe to say we work with all generators. We do have vehicle to load capabilities. It is limited to a few vehicles that have a 240 volt outlet. Primarily, that's the larger trucks. The way that works is we simply run a 240 volt power cord from the truck to our generator module, and then we treat the vehicle like it's a portable generator. Gives the homeowner some extra battery capacity during long power outages and periods of low solar access. So nice feature. We are smart circuit compatible, and I'll touch on this a few times. We have our own smart circuits. We're also compatible with some third-party circuits. This gives the ability, again, to do a whole home backup with smaller battery and smaller solar systems. By utilizing the smart circuits, you're able to shed larger loads or not back up the large loads if the power outage is going to be long. I like to use the example of a hot tub. If it's a Friday night and you're having a hot tub party, we can go ahead and back up that hot tub. But if it's not so much a hot tub type party night and you want to save your battery, the smart circuit will turn that hot tub off for you automatically, thus saving your battery for some more vital circuits. So pretty nice to have those. We have two batteries currently, A Power 2, A Power S, AC or DC coupled. The A Power S can also be AC coupled. So the A Power S is dual mode, so to speak, AC or DC coupled. The A Power 2 is AC coupled only. Um, the the inverter in the A Power S is a 20 kilowatt inverter, 20 kilowatt input. It's 11.5 output across 4 MPPTs. And we like that battery for Franklin. It just gives us a fast installation, fewer boxes on the wall. All of our battery products come with a 15-year warranty, 60 megawatt throughput, so longest, most comprehensive warranty available. We don't talk about it much, but we do have a truck roll free fee should you have an issue you need to work on, and we pay that fee for the full 15 years. And which leads us to the next one, RMA rate. You don't really need a truck roll rate if you're never rolling a truck, so that's kind of nice. 0.2% RMA rate. Essentially, this is a install it, commission it, leave the site, never have to go back type battery. We just have an extremely low failure rate. We're pretty proud of that. And of course, the battery works fully on grid or off grid, black start capable, all those other things. A few points at the bottom. CATL cells. We're working with Able Edge span, things like that. So we'll get to a couple of those things. Yeah, and here we are. So Franklin's a very versatile battery. It's what we do. It just tends to work, but there's a lot of features in the market that can make our battery even better. And these are some of those. The connector products, the Islander product, we're compatible with that so that you can do a whole home backup and a meter main combo without moving all the circuits. Really speeds up the installation, lowers the cost of the installation, and it just simplifies things. Then you have Eaton smart breakers, and you also have the span panel. We're compatible with both. Again, just expanding on the system that the homeowner may have or may need. We can add all the functionality that they would want. You can add these functions today and you can add those functions later. Same thing with generator integration and vehicle to load integration. They don't have to be added at the time of install. They can be added later. It just makes Franklin a nice expandable unit. And then in the middle there, you see the Franklin RSDs. That's an image of our product that'll be available later this year. That'll just be a nice complement to the A-Power S that will have an integrated transfer switch in the A-Power S, and then these RSDs, you'll be able to use two RSDs per string, thus making the install very fast and simple. And of course, Atmos on the top right, we'll hear more from Anders here in a little bit, but partnering with Atmos makes it so that the homeowner can purchase the system they need with very simple, easy to use financing. And then the beauty of the Atmos solar loan versus other options is if they did decide to add to the system later, they could do so. Where with other financing methods, there are some limitations onto what you can add to your system later down the road. And of course, BayWa has brought this all together and packaged it up nicely for us. And we thank them for that because we are not good at what BayWa does. Um, Great. So, how do you sell Franklin? This is one of my favorite topics. I could probably talk for 30 minutes. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to be quick so we can get to Atmos, which is what everyone wants to hear about anyway. So, the key to selling Franklin is um, I believe we should spend more time listening to our customers, asking them the right questions, and learning what they're really trying to achieve in the home. Um, Salespeople are good talkers, and sometimes we're not the best listeners. So this takes practice. Coming up with a list of discovery questions to learn what their desires are. Is it economic? Is it safety? Is it long-term value in the home? What are they trying to achieve? And then we're able to match the products, the features, the benefits with what their desires are. Franklin offers you the ability to be different. Um, there's many batteries to choose from. There's many solar systems and inverters to choose from. Franklin kind of brings all of those together and allows you to design a system to meet their exact needs, to be a little bit different. Rather than a cookie cutter system, we can build, design, and create a system, create an environment that the homeowner really wants today and into the future. Forwards and backwards compatibility, the ability to add features later, to add more storage later, add more power later. And doing that with the right financing tool, you can start with an entry-level system and add on later, or you can go full force and give them everything they want from day one. It's the flexibility of being able to do that is nice. You're not locked into a cookie cutter box. You're truly able to listen to what their desires are, create the system they need, and provide all those features on a single platform. And then, of course, the financing. Franklin is fortunate. We have products that fit both models, whether it be ownership or lease. And this goes back to the beginning part of discovery. Leasing is not for everybody, prepaid or otherwise. Ownership is not for everyone. Learning what their financial situation is, what their short and long-term desires are, and then finding the financing product that works best for them in their situation. Some people need more flexibility than others. Being able to offer both of these to every homeowner will greatly increase your close rates. Couple poll
David,
questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dave, could you jump back one quick minute because I have a question for you. And I
Yes.
believe you alluded to this a little bit, and maybe we can really make this specific call out for the installer. So as I hear you talk about listen and learn, available now or later, path to ownership or not. So what would you say? Do installers actually need to change how they sell, or do they simply need to change the conversation they're having with the homeowners?
That's a really good question. I don't think we need to change how people sell. I think we need to change maybe what we offer, right? Sometimes salespeople like to have a preconceived notion of what that homeowner needs, right? I've been to this type of house before. I've seen these types of cars in the driveway before, and I've seen that type of a dog, so they must need this. And we need to get away from that, and we have to really focus on what they're telling us, read between the lines, and help them understand what's available. A lot of times they just don't know what's available, and by listening and offering and telling them what's out there, you may learn something you're surprised at.
Thank you.
Okay, poll questions.
Yeah, let's get to it. There's a poll question for you guys. So we need your vote here. How do you currently handle FIAC equipment regardless of financing types? So single choice, you have to pick one. I only offer FIAC compliant equipment regardless of financing types. Second choice, I offer FIAC for TPO and non-FIAC for cash and loan, so kind of both. My distributor only gives me one price. All equipment is FIAC regardless of project type. Let's see. All right, everybody, give us your vote so we can see where you are at. That will help us also tailor the presentation a little bit to your need. You can also use the Q&A for further commentary.
Okay,
All right. Yeah.
pretty good.
Okay, I think it stopped moving. Any surprises here? Majority, 50% that responded offer FIAC for TPO and non-FIAC for cash and loan.
Yeah, I don't see that as a surprise. I think that's probably the right strategy today. And we'll get into that here in a second. But Franklin's a perfect example. If we have both products available, we have a FIAC compliant product for TPO, and then we have our non-FIAC product that's made overseas that's perfect for cash and loan. And the reason it is it comes in at a slightly lower price. So it gives that cash loan customer a bit of a pricing advantage. I see a few people said only offering FIAC compliant, and a few others distributor only giving one price. The distributor only giving one price, that will change. I think even BayWa today is only offering one price for Franklin. That will change here really soon. So thank you for that honest answer. It is going to be both options pretty quick.
Much appreciated. And I have a follow-up question maybe here for you.
Sure.
So talking about FIAC and non-FIAC, what is the biggest misconception installers have today about FIAC versus non-FIAC products?
That's a really big loaded question. It is a very confusing topic, and the guidance
Mhm.
around FIAC is not as clear as you would hope it would be, I think is the way to put that. Um, we've all done our best to meet the FIAC requirements that were put forth by the administration. Whether you agree with all of it or not, I think as a whole, it's a good idea. Um, but the guidance has moved and adjusted, and we're all doing our best to meet it. So I think the only misconception would be that there are companies that are taking all the right steps to be FIAC compliant, and it just seems like it takes a long time. And it's the nicest way to put it is there's a lot of lawyers involved. So let's just let them do their job. We're going to get there. I think over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see many manufacturers that are currently not compliant become compliant, and that'll open up the market to all of us yet again, Franklin included.
Thank you for taking a step at this very loaded, complicated question that kind of ties into our second poll question that we are ready to launch now. So does non-FIAC equipment have a lower cost than FIAC equipment? We want to know what you think. Pick one, single choice. Nope, 10% or less, 20%, 10% less, 20% less, 30% less. We see some movement here. Can we get some more votes? So everybody just cast your vote here. We want to know what you think.
I am not surprised. They're pretty even.
It's all over the place. Yes, it's very
Yeah,
even.
pretty even from no 10 to 20. And it's worth noting that nobody selected 30% less,
Yep.
which is probably accurate. I don't think it's 30% less. So there you go. Um, uh, I don't know what the number is myself, but I think it's going to fall between 10 and 20% across the
Yep.
board. We'll see how that works itself out. At Franklin, for example, we're going to be ramping up domestic manufacturing here. We're doing that right now. As that plant in Santa Clara increases in volume, costs will come down. So right now we're still looking to see what that's going to be. But there is definitely a savings. A few people said there's no savings. That might be the case currently because the product just hasn't made it to distribution just yet, but it is coming. So you will see a difference in the cost between FIOC and non-FIOC. Thanks for the answers there.
Thank you.
Yes, and I've been saying this a few times now. So Franklin is very fortunate as a sales guy. This is fantastic news. We're going to have both FIOC for owning your system and FIOC compliant or non-FIOC for domestic for TPO type stuff. So both premium systems, both the exact same components, exact same batteries. The only difference is where it is assembled and manufactured. So same warranties and all of that. So very fortunate for us to have both tiers available quite soon, before the end of the year for sure. And then, we're talking, getting ready for Anders to speak. And we're starting to see the TPO market pull back just a little bit. I know at the beginning of the year with the changes to the ITC was a very strong TPO market. Now we're seeing a lot of markets come back to that 50-50 range. And I think this is important because I'm fortunate in the West Coast. I work with hundreds of different of installers and get to hear from them. And one thing I've learned is that if you're a very heavy finance reliant company one way or the other, whether you're very heavy in TPO or very heavy in cash loan, um, that may not be the healthiest thing. Somewhere around 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever the percentage is seems to be healthier companies, healthier cash flow, things like this. So seeing the market come back to 50-50 is good. Having a product that you can offer at the kitchen table for both TPO or cash, I think automatically you'll see that buyers will make a decision best for them, and you'll see some mixture near 50-50 on your loans versus your TPOs. Um, and then ownership and lease. Again, I don't know that there's an advantage to one or the other. I think there's certain situations with each homeowner where one is certainly better than the other, and then there's just some misunderstandings. So this is just some really high level stuff. Who owns the system in a TPO? The financier does. Cash loan, obviously, the homeowner does. Selling your home, TPO lease can be cumbersome. Um, and cash loan, obviously, the system is owned, and that's no transfer worried about there. Paying off early, some TPOs you can. I think most you cannot. Cash loan, it's going to depend on who your lender is, but most lenders allow for early buyouts. And I think Anders might be able to expand on that for us here in a little bit. And then hidden costs. Whenever you add a third party to like a lease. As a matter of fact, last time I leased a car, I really had no idea what that car costs. So I would classify that as hidden costs. Although sometimes a TPO lease will offer a lower monthly payment, and that's what makes it attractive. So the hidden costs kind of go away. But cash loan, I think everyone knows how those works. So one seems to be a little bit more simple than the other. One might provide a little bit lower payment. So again, just depends on what the homeowner is looking for. Yeah, so this is pretty much it for me. Choose a great product. Franklin is an excellent product. There's many excellent modules and inverters and rackings out there. Put together a premium system. Finance it either through an Atmos type program or a TPO. Offer your customer both options. Get them the best system they can for the best purchase method that works for them. And then go to BayWa and they'll put it all in a pretty package for you and make it super simple. I'm learning a lot about how BayWa does things behind the scenes, and it's very impressive. So definitely buy your Franklins from BayWa. I think that's it for me. Yep, there's my contact information. That is my cell phone number. Call me anytime. And if you're not certified, take a quick picture of that installer certification little QR code there. But you can always call me or email me and I'll get you set up. That's
Thank you
all I
so
have.
much, Dave. That's awesome, and thank you for the kind words. We love working with you guys, and I'm super excited about what you just shared. How this premium product is not only versatile and a product that can continue to create value in the future, but also it's available with different paths of ownership, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So the linking element here is the premium product. So sometimes that comes at a higher cost. So if a homeowner is like very price sensitive, what would you say to an installer? How could that installer present Franklin and the value of Franklin to that homeowner?
I'm sorry. So the question was, how can an
Why
installer
Franklin?
present the
Yeah,
value?
so it's a premium product that sometimes it can be more, come at a higher price than
Yep,
other competitive products.
sure.
So, and if a homeowner is like price sensitive, how can an installer have this conversation? Why the premium product of Franklin?
Yeah, excellent question. And there's not a short answer, so I'm gonna like go with the medium answer if that's okay. So the first off, there's a little bit of a misconception there that Franklin costs more. So um, if you're looking at the upfront investment or the capital investment, then yes, oftentimes the Franklin system may be a little bit more money. But if you factor in features, benefits, and most importantly, a 15-year warranty with a 60 megawatt hour throughput, and you broke out that capital cost over the life of the system, 15 plus years, I think you'll find that on a per kilowatt hour delivered or on a per year investment ratio or however you want to break it down, I think you're going to find that maybe Franklin's not the most expensive. Maybe what it really is the best value. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways to present that. Like I said, I could probably spend the rest of this webinar doing that, but I'm not going to bore everybody and move on. But that is a great question. And I'd love to meet with anyone who would like to learn how to better position Franklin so that it's more on an equal cost basis.
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that. And then one very quick clarifying question. There was seemed to be a little bit confusion of what you mean by fiat and non-fiat products, because depending on where you're coming from, this could be read reverse. Could you just
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
what you were
So
talking
here,
about?
internal at Franklin, we consider FIOC, foreign entity of concern. That is our product that is being manufactured overseas. So internally, that's how we verbalize it. And then non-FIOC would be product that is not foreign entity of concern. So that would be our domestic product. I think there's a lot of confusion. Some people say it the other way around. Um,
Correct.
I don't know that there's a right or a wrong, but if there was confusion, that's why I said it the way I did. Sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's
Thank you.
Anders, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the partnership because when you have the right products in partnership, they can do so much more. As you can see with Franklin, being able to choose according to the financing type is really important, as well as having a great product. And then being able to have a distributor that is partnered as well and can do direct pay is just what we're really doing is we're making a program. So my name is Anders Alexander. If you say Anders, Andish, Anders, or Anders, I will accept it. Um, because I was gifted the name that I have, and that's how we're gonna roll with it. But at home, people call me Andish. So what I do with partnerships for Atmos Financial is really to make sure that we are driving forward in the right direction, that we're doing that with the right partners, all types of partners. And obviously, a really important partner is the contractor. I myself have spent most of my 17-year career working for contractors, both with leasing providers like Solar City, but also in cash and loan markets with small local installers, all the way down to a couple of crews. And so I've been there. I sold solar before any of our tools existed. So I used to, roll up, get on the roof, measure it with the measuring tape, and sit down at the kitchen table with no financing option available and try to get someone to sign up for solar. So I'm there with you on the challenges. And the thing is, though, is that all the good financing that I signed people up for when I was a sales rep, I realized was credit union financing. And so that's what Atmos Financial does, is it takes that credit union financing and it makes it more available, faster, because the credit unions are just literally not investing in this side of their business. When they do loans, like with used cars, they dominate that market. They have a financial technology provider do that work for them. Yes, they get the loans on their books, but they dominate the used car market because there are fintechs that allow them to do that. And that's what Atmos Financial is doing. We're a fintech with multiple credit unions, community banks, CDFIs behind us. And so let's dive in. So with the title, Back to the Future, what we're expressing here is that, with the changes in federal tax law, which I was a part of lobbying to maybe have a more sane version of what we got, we lost 25D. And what we found is that when we look into the future, we see the past, which is good loan financing products. So since 2026 has been a reset, now we're to the point where companies have had their response, and now they're ready to be proactive. And so, echoing some of the things that have already been said before, what I think, if you can pull back and like have some X-ray vision into what this presentation is about contractors having balanced businesses. And that's what Atmos can provide. You already sell cash, you already have your TPO providers, and now you have a financing provider that is active in all 50 states and has a program around it. So you don't need multiple financing providers. You just need one. So the great thing about third-party financing is that it's a program. And programs are really good because, especially for contractors, you're able to adopt onto a program, use that program, and hopefully have predictable outcomes. Now, the loan side needs to be a program, and that's what we're doing with Atmos Financial, and then that's what we're doing with our partnerships as well. And so we finance the solar standalone, the battery standalone, the HVAC standalone, smart panels, and electric vehicles standalone. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that we look at each of those individually and we have appropriate price caps for each one. And so instead of a large price cap to include a bunch of things, we look at them standalone. And what that also means is that, like with the car chargers and the smart panels, we're taking things that used to be a portion of a solar loan and we're making them standalone. We're programmatizing all the different types. Roofs still have to be a part of another standalone loan. But you can see the direction that we're going, that since we're a fintech, we're constantly making these changes for the financial institutions behind us, and you don't have to wait for all of them to make those updates. We make those updates, and then we make it easier to use our product, which makes it easier for you to offer loans, which makes it easier for you to have a balanced business and a consultative sale. So to dive into like what makes Atmos more of a program, well, within our tool that the contractor can use, we actually have custom links. And so that means that the contractor can go in and say, this is the exact system I want financed, so that when the customer receives that link, it is already partially filled out and attached to that contractor. When I was selling solar only a couple of years ago, using a local credit union, I had to just hand the customer a quote, send them in the direction of the credit union. Maybe I would hear from them again, maybe not. Maybe it took a really long time to fill out that application. And so we have a much better experience both for the contractor and for the customer. And then also, when I would send that out to a credit union, maybe they would go and get approval and then switch it to a different contractor, and then I wouldn't hear about it. This is within a system. So when you send them out, they get approval just for you, and then you get that back. Then when that homeowner is actually given that application process, it's fast, portions are automated, and then once again, as a fintech, we're automating more and more of the system. And so it is getting faster. Now, what we're also doing is to get paid, we have a lower admin cost because we have less onerous requirements than other financing types. And we also do not have, let's say, shifting further and further out milestones. Since this is a cash loan, there's no sort of revolving fund or money being moved around. This is a financial institution providing the loan upon the successful milestone in our contract. That is very straightforward. And so within that, we think that contractors can actually get paid faster than other financing types. Now, faster, yes, but instant, not always. Because for consumer protection, if you think about one of our customers is the financial institution. And so what they want is the lowest default rate possible. And so that means that while our system is going towards instant abilities to approve something, and it's very fast now already, we still have to have those speed bumps for necessary consumer protection. We have to make sure that if the person is over a certain age, that they really are making this decision knowingly. I had a father where in the last 10 years of his life, you could not try to sell him something. That would be illegal. Some older people get to the point where they're not capable of making good decisions. But what speeds it up is that if you work with the customer, you can do a couple of things. You can do a soft credit check in the beginning before you show up to their home or when you get to their home. That way, you know that they're likely to be approved. Then you can help them understand what is in the application process. So if one partner fills it out, but they don't have income and the other partner does, that's going to slow it down if you filled it out that way. So doing it where you're actually talking to the customer and preparing them for the application, that's what can make it go very, very fast. But if we get into a multiple day back and forth with trying to get the right documentation, what we will do is include the contractor in that communication so you have the ability to speed it up. So we're going to have the necessary speed bumps, but we're going to work with you on your sales process because once again, I've been in your sales process. I've been there. It's really painful to stop everything for financing, but I think that there are some really great ways to do that. Do we have a question?
I have a question for you, Anish. Oh, thank you. Once you've reached that approval phase, on average, how long are these credit union loans approved for? So let's say we have a homeowner that isn't ready to decide today and they need to think about it, but they're already approved for the loan. Do they still have a couple months to come back to you as the installer and say, yes, let's do this project now?
When we approve them, they do have a period of time where it's basically conditional. I don't have the exact amount of time, which is different than them fully accepting the loan. Because, right, there's us saying, hey, you're approved.
Sure.
That is only good for a certain number of days. And then when they say, okay, I'm going to accept this and I'm going to start working with their contractor, that does set a clock where payments will start in several months. But when they get that initial approval, I don't have the exact number of days, but I can follow up with that where that will be good for a certain period of time.
And that sounds like the homeowner can feel in control as well. as well?
Oh, definitely. Oh,
That,
definitely.
that was my thought. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you for the question. Um, And then also, we have a CRM, a contractor portal, so you can actually track your customers. When I've used credit union financing, they literally don't even want to talk to you as a consumer protection layer, but it's perfectly fine to talk to you and provide you some vision into where your customers are at. Then when we look at appropriate terms, and I think it's really great that Franklin Battery has an even longer warranty because it really gives you even more flexibility in the terms on the loan. But when you look at what we would view as appropriate terms matched to the warranty, Atmos Financial tends to have the lowest rates. What we're not going to do is offer a stock loan that is longer than what that equipment is expected to do under warranty or be on a roof. So you'll notice we don't go maybe out as far on those last couple of years as other funders. But when we look at the terms, time terms appropriate to the type of project, then that's when we have really great rates. And then also because of this issue with FIOC and non-FIOC, we have an AVL, but it is more expansive than your other financing product types because we're not restricted in that way. We still are going to restrict it to the good equipment. If there's something that is that you really like that is not on our AVL, we're gonna go check it out. But once again, we need equipment that is popular, and then within that, with bankable companies. And so we have an AVL. It's more expansive than others, but it still locks you into the good equipment. So you can request that from us. If there's something isn't on there that you use, just send it to us, and we'll go check it out. So,
Anders,
oh,
Andish, I hope I said that correctly. Two quick questions. One was a clarifying question on PTO, whether this is still required or not. If you could comment on that. And then I have a practical question for you as well.
on PTO, if what is still required?
Yeah, PTO is not required, correct? That's the question, or is it required?
Permission to operate for final payment? Yes.
It is
Yes, we
required.
yes, that is one of the milestones. It is a small holdover. But since our customers are financial institutions and we use the ones that are the most highly regulated, we have to do what the industry wants, and that is what the industry is wanting right now.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification. That's an important one. And then the other question I have is, as you were talking through the Atmos program, and you coming from sales and you understand what the installers, what kind of position they're in. So many installers may have already a sales process that is established. So does moving back or adding or shifting towards cash and loan financing, does that require any major operational changes, or can they just build on the processes they have already?
Yeah, I'm happy to help with that. I think what has also been echoed here is the consultative sale fully allows for this, and then also making sure that you're providing your customer with a full transparent comparison on the different financing types. And then my preferred method is to use that consultation to come back and say, it sounds like you're a really good candidate for these two financing types, and it sounds like this one design getting the number of permutations down as possible is what you would want, and then always giving them choice. And most all design tools support that as well. But I am fully available to work with contractors on that when they sign up to be an Atmos Financial contractor.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Great. All right, let's do a poll question.
Yes. So compared to cash and loan project, how do the soft costs delivering a TPO project compare? So a little bit of a comparison based on your experiences. You have one choice. Soft costs are roughly the same for all project types. Soft costs are lower for TPO. Soft costs are higher for TPO. I don't know. I haven't really measured. So you can cast your vote here.
Yeah, this is great. We've been asking these questions for a couple of months now. And that is a large portion of our presentation is from this feedback. So it really helps us just to get continued feedback.
So there's a larger share, it looks like, that I haven't really measured. And there are pros and cons to both financing paths, right? Not one is better than the other. There's a use case for all of those. Based on your research and the surveys, is there any comment you would like to make? Are you surprised about that result?
I think it's interesting that we haven't measured it yet. And when I see answers like that, I just think, great, let's schedule our follow-up meeting and let's talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, and then we have the soft costs are lower for TPO and higher for TPO. It's 25, 15%. Okay, so we have a variety of responses here.
Yeah, I think that one's really interesting. When we have meetings with individual contractors, I'd love to dive in that more because the requirements for TPO are more. So I'd be interested to know why the soft costs are lower for a financial product that has higher administrative requirements.
Yeah, please share your experiences in the Q&A. I'm happy to share some more as the webinar goes along. Thank you.
Great. Cool. All right. Let's move on to the next one. So I think it's a really important thing, once again, when it comes to this balance. You have a balance of different financing options, but that also leads to a balance of that customer experience and yours of them. And so with cash and loan, these are customers that are more owned by a contractor in a number of ways, more flexibility on expanding and adapting and using the system. And so there are, different opportunities, whether you do cash loan or TPO financing. But in the end, if you do any one of those 100%, that might not be the balance that you're looking for. As cash and loan customers, you theoretically should have more control over their system and servicing them and upgrading them in the future instead of within a certain program. And so we look at just generally thinking about whose business are you building as you do each customer and what balance works really well for growing your own business. So the consultative sale is durable, and that's really what we're getting at, is that when you really dive into it and you really ask the customer a lot of questions, you might be surprised. So my story here is that when I sold solar in Washington, let me check, over 10 years ago, we had this huge local production incentive for these two panels that were made in Washington at the time, to the point where paybacks were often under 6 years in a market with like 11 cents a kilowatt hour power. But there were things I didn't like about that equipment. So while a lot of my sales ended up using the local equipment and that local incentive, when I did the consultative sale, I found that some people wanted a lower upfront price. And I could do that with out-of-state equipment. And I could do that. I mean, at the time we had, this is in Washington, we had Solar World out of Oregon and we had SunPower. And so I could either sell them a lower cost project, maybe simpler, better inverters, more long-lasting inverters. I didn't like the inverters that were coming with the incentive program at the time. Or if someone had, a roof that has 35 years left in it and they want premium SunPower panels, I would sell that to them. And so while my other sales reps on my team sold pretty much 99% the local production incentive, I was more at the 80, 70% mark because I was just listening to the customer and not imposing upon them what I think they should do. And we were surprised by that. And so I think the consultative sale is durable in every single situation. And it really causes us to deliver people what they really want for their home. And so we just keep coming back to this because I think it's super important and it allows for that more balanced business and it allows for customers that really feel like they're being given a choice. So that's really the question is not necessarily what tax credit can the customer get, but we're wondering after we've understood that customer and understood their home, what's the highest quality we can offer them and at the lowest price point. And so I think that's really important that for contractors, they have different wants and needs. They have different preferences. They even have, different abilities on their staff, even within their electricians. And so being able to offer the products that you want because you have multiple good financing options available and you're able to choose the higher quality stuff and you're able to at the same time choose the lowest price. That's what we're saying is with that consultation, you can then understand who that customer is and give them multiple good options. And I think that in this market, that at times is a differentiator. That at times is exactly what customers are looking for. And if other contractors aren't doing it, that's always a competitive advantage. So let's do poll. Yes.
Yeah, maybe in the interest of time, may I suggest to skip the poll question?
Yes.
So we have enough time to come through your presentation.
Great. So just with this poll question, what we're saying is from the last one, we're trying to get specific and we're saying, did you have a drone requirement? Did you have a 300 photo requirement? What requirements did you have for other financing types that you don't have for this one? And it's hard for me because there are other technology innovations that are coming down the lane for Atmos Financial that are actually going to speed this up and automate it. So there's even less steps for the contractor. And I can't get into it, but that's the difference is we're actually going in a direction where there are less onerous requirements while we're still capturing the good data that we need. So I'll skip over this one real quick, but just to say who owns the customer, once again, it's back to the referrals, the upsells, and the next 10 years and which financing types lets you really own that in the way that works for you. We can skip this poll question as well because, basically where we're going is don't look at price, look at margins. And if we look at margins and we end up seeing a similar margin for different financing types, then we're feeling really good about that. And if we're seeing that you have set up your company in a way that actually has a better margin on cash and loan products, then once again, that's going to be healthy for your business to have that mix of loans. Once again, back to the hardware. And then additionally, for some people, other admin costs. We already had on the poll that it can be often 20 cents a watt cheaper, or sorry, 20% cheaper. And really what we're looking at is, yeah, if we've lost the 30% federal tax credit, but the equipment alone can be 20% cheaper, then maybe we can once again get back to a place where contractors are offering customers just multiple good options. Once again, back to which equipment are you installing? You have your preferences. Let's let you use your preferences. That's a really important thing. When I've run installation companies, I would start with what equipment works for the type of company that I am, and then I would focus on that equipment. And I really personally wouldn't appreciate a financing type making it impossible for me to operate with the equipment that I actually want. I nerd out on equipment, so I was highly opinionated when I ran my own contractor as to what we were installing. And really actually allowed me to have a market differentiator as well that at times have allowed me to start a solar contractor in a crowded field with a differentiator from day one. And then this other idea that, when I was doing sales and someone would say, I'm ready to go, I got cash, I kind of learned over time that that wasn't my favorite. Because we would get to the payment moments and then they'd say, I'm going to put a different condition in here. And you can't just sue them at that moment. You have to work with them. But the difference is that when you have the financer, when certain milestones are met, we have to pay out. and we can talk to the customer and tell them, yes, that is your concern, and I, as the financier, share that concern, but it is time to pay the contractor. They did the good work. So once again, loans are a durable competitive advantage. Discover what the customer wants, offer them multiple things, and own that customer relationship for your business. And so we'll pass it off for some final thoughts. On my end, would really love to hear from everyone afterwards. Would really love to further this conversation. Obviously, there are more details to go over. There's probably a lot of questions, and that's exactly what I'd love to get into a conversation about on our website, joinatmos.com. You can click on installers, you can click on the application, or you can just schedule a meeting with me. But just really, really appreciative of this group, really appreciative of Franklin and BayWa, and thanks for inviting us.
Thank you so much. This was phenomenal, and I appreciate your flexibility. I really wanted to make sure we go to the end and just come to the conclusion. There is a very viable, fast path to ownership, and I really appreciate what you presented here. There are questions about where you're operating. I know you said it. Which states do you provide financial services? Are you operating in all 50 states?
Yeah, we operate in all 50 states, which means that we have a lender with a national field. And then within different states, we are building up redundancy as well. So we're not near our cap for lending out, which is always expanding. So accepting more contractors onto our network is a really good thing for us right now. We have the capacity for you.
That sounds awesome. Can I just say one more question for you, Anders? So what are some, just maybe very briefly, what are some challenges or some things installers should avoid when they're having the financing conversation with homeowners?
Yeah, let's just not, and I think David did a great job of answering this kind of question too. Let's not break it down to the first month's financing payment. I think that is one number that is relevant, but let's look at how long the loan terms are, how long the financing terms are. Let's look at how long that customer plans to stay in the home, how long it will be until they need a re-roof. Let's consider all of those and then present the customer with, hey, in your situation, these seem like really good options, but let's talk about the full term of the financing option, and let's compare those notes, because with Atmos, if you choose a shorter loan term, yes, the monthly payment is going to be higher. But if you compare that to another financing product that has a longer term of payment, well, then you'll get to a point where there are no payments because you own the system, but there are payments to the other one. And so we just need to, and I can work with contractors on presenting this information, but we just need to give homeowners that full picture of what all the obligations they have and how that matches up to their exact situation.
Amazing. Thank you. So consultative approach, discovery, I heard with both of you, Dave and Anders, and that's something that BayWa very much focuses on, is really understanding and listening. And I'm going to hand it over to Betsy to take us home. How does BayWa fit into this?
So I hear a reoccurring theme of control. We want you as a solar installer to feel in control. That's why we talk about forecasting. That's why we talk about talking with David and Anders and making a plan that works for you. One of the things I also noticed is that with Franklin and Atmos, it also gives the homeowner control to make the decision they want to make, which makes you look great as an installer as well. So on the screen right now, there's some contact information. All of this is here for you to use. Please reach out directly to me. My email is on here, and Jordan Torres directly. We're here to support setting up direct pay from Atmos to pay for the equipment on your financed projects. And that's something that is going to help you control your administrative overhead. It's also going to make things work more smoothly for yourself and your homeowner. So please stay in communication with us and ask us the hard questions. I think that both these gentlemen are here to get you what you need to help you be successful. And that's what BayWa is here for you as well. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, so it sounds like BayWa is here for you the entire process. And I couldn't be any more happy right now. I'm so appreciative of this webinar, and Dave and Anders and Betsy for being here and putting contests while we are talking about path to ownership and options, right? You have options. There is no just one way to go to Rome, or whatever that saying goes like. I really appreciate the partnership. I appreciate the support and all the expertise and the availability for our installers to help them navigate the market environment and help them become successful and grow their business even more. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, attendees, for joining us today. And keep your eyes peeled for an email with a recording and the presentation. And talk to you very soon. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.